Hello and welcome back to the Checkpoint Reach podcast. This is a gaming podcast that discusses the latest news in the gaming world and occasional movie news. I'm your host Luke Eldon. I'm joined by my fellow gamers and friends, Sud and Matty Cheatham. How are you doing, guys?
Very good, Luke. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks, mate.
Good.
How about you, Matt? How are you doing?
Evening, fella. I'm doing all right.
Good to hear. So what's the latest game that you've been playing this week?
Mainly Red Dead, I think, isn't it? That's mainly what we've all been playing, really. I've been playing a little bit of Blackout with yourself as well.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I've played. Yeah, they're the main games anyway. So yeah, it's been good. Enjoying Red Dead.
Yeah, you need to complete it, man. Me and Matty have already completed it, and we want to discuss the ending with you.
I'm enjoying the game. You know, I've done a lot of the side stuff as well, so I'm just enjoying the game. Just it's a good game. It's a great game. So. I'm not in a mad rush to complete it, but I am in chapter 6 now, so I'm sure it won't be too long.
Yeah. Sound like you're close.
Yeah,
I've got PTSD from not being able to discuss it with you and also finishing the game.
Huh.
I feel like the longer you leave it, the more I'm likely to wreck the game by mistake.
Well, I'd heard her tell you'd already wrecked it for somebody else, not in the podcast today. But
yeah, well, he deserved it for not playing it.
It's very true.
How you can't play it at this point, I don't know. But don't worry, people, there's no spoilers here. But that does take us nicely into our first topic, which is the Game of the Year awards. We're going to discuss some of the nominees in different categories. The first category we're going to discuss is the actual Game of the Year. So the nominees for that are Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, God of War, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I know we discussed this a little bit last week on the podcast, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth with this one. And I already know what you guys are going to say because I think we're all agreed, bar me, actually you two agree, not me, that it's Red Dead Redemption for you. How do you feel about that, Sud? If you want to explain why you think Red Dead's the best game?
You know us too well, don't you? Why not? But I think, as we've already said, we discussed this last week, but yeah, Red Dead it's my game of the year, so that's the one I would want to win, and I think it's the one that's probably going to win. I think God of War is going to put up a good fight, though. I think it could be close, but I think Red Dead Redemption is going to win it. I do, yeah. I think that's, it's on multi-plat, isn't it? So obviously that helps the game as well. It's not constricted to just one console like God of War is. And Spider-Man and games like that, so obviously more people will have played it. But yeah, that's what I'd give my vote to, and I think that's what will win. So,
yeah. How about you, Matt? I mean, I know you're going to pretty much echo Sud's thoughts.
Yeah, personally, I think it's Red Dead. Absolutely spectacular game, soundtrack, visuals, the writing. Constantly in every Rockstar game is just absolutely fantastic, and this game is no exception. One thing I am quite disappointed by is that in the Game of the Year nominees there isn't room for Fallout 76, because that is clearly a brilliant game, rated 5 on Metacritic,
2.9 on the user score.
Yeah, it's just absolutely criminal that Fallout 76 hasn't made the cut, to be honest. That'd be number 2, close behind Red Dead.
I don't think anyone's echoing them statements.
Well, I think Todd Howard might be.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I think it'd even be hard for Todd Howard to echo those.
Yeah, even Todd Howard
statements.
probably wouldn't put it in his top 5 for the year. So
no,
that pretty much says it all.
Well, we'll be coming on to Fallout 76 a little bit later and discuss that again after some news this week. But I think Red Dead's probably going to win. I believe it will win. But for me, like I mentioned it last week, my personal favourite is Spider-Man. So I'm going to stick with Spider-Man and hope it wins. However, I don't hold out much hope. I feel like it will be Red Dead. And if it's not Red Dead, I think God of War would probably win it ahead of Spider-Man.
If you look at them Game of the Year candidates, though, Spider-Man, especially, well, all 6, but especially Spider-Man, God of War, and Red Dead, I wouldn't have a problem with any of them winning it, really. I think they're all great games, and they could all, in their own year, have won. There's years gone past. I think there was a list, wasn't there, of the winners from the past. Yeah, exactly, 2014. If you go back to 2014, probably any of the 6 games that are nominated probably would have won.
Apart from Celeste, just because it's an indie game, and I always feel like
indie games do get a bit of
a sort of
get shafted sometimes.
On people's perception of the game, but in that year that Dragon Age Inquisition won Game of the Year, I genuinely feel like God of War, Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Red Dead obviously would have all beat that on the year. So it's been an extremely good year for games. I think it just is testament to the quality of Red Dead Redemption 2 that it's so far ahead of the pack, and it's not like the competition is mediocre this year. But I still, like, as soon as someone asked me what Game of the Year was, it's just Red Dead instantly. That is literally the first thing that comes to my head. And I know it's obviously got the benefit of having just been played and still fresh in my mind, but I feel like even if I played it 11 months ago, I'd still feel exactly the same. It's just head and shoulders above anything else this year in terms of just pure quality. So
I'd agree with that. I remember when I played God of War at the start of the year, and I thought straight away, this is probably going to be right up there, possibly Game of the Year. And then you play Spider-Man and you think, fantastic, this rivals God of War. And then when you start playing Red Dead, you're just like, nah, this is it. This is the Game of the Year. I know, Luke, you had an issue with the first 2 or 3 hours of the game, would you say?
Yeah.
Was it for you?
Yeah. It took me a while. I think until we got to Valentine, where I started to get into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 or 3 hours, maybe you could argue, could have been stronger, but the game is a slow burner anyway, really. But I just think it's, like Mike said, it is head and shoulders above everything else this year. And, the thing is, if God of War won, if Spider-Man won, I wouldn't be absolutely, horrified by it or anything. I think it'd be fine if they won, but I just, for me, Red Dead probably has to win it, I think, this year. But we'll see. We'll soon see.
So. Yeah, you never know, but it does look likely. Do you agree with me that if Red Dead doesn't win, that you think it'll be God of War?
Yeah, I can't. As much as I enjoyed Spider-Man, I think the natural second best is God of War this year, I think. So, yeah, I think if Red Dead doesn't somehow win, I think it'll be God of War.
How about you, Matt?
Exactly the same. If it's boring, but they have been the 2 standout games this year. Sometimes there's years where there's a lot of games that are very similar, and it makes the Game Awards quite exciting because you don't really know who's going to win. But I'd say it's probably 90% certain it'll be Red Dead, and if it isn't Red Dead, the rest of that percentage is going to be God of War. That's the only other game that I could see winning.
Yeah, definitely. When you look at it, it seems like it's going to be Red Dead Redemption with the win, and then God of War if it doesn't. Looking at the other games, I haven't played Assassin's Creed Odyssey yet. I know you two, that's your next game to play, or?
Yeah, I would have liked to have played that first, actually, before. If it had played this first, it probably would have given more fair and unbiased answer, because obviously, with Monster Hunter World, I played that for maybe a couple of hours. The game seemed fine. A lot of people love it, but it wasn't my type of game. And Celeste I haven't played. I've got to say, I haven't played Celeste. But yeah, Assassin's Creed would have been the one where I would have liked to have played. But I'll be playing it soon. I'm sure it's, from what I can tell, it's a really good game. So look forward to that.
Yeah, it's on the pile of shame for me as well.
You'll get around to it soon, though.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, I heard mixed reviews about Assassin's Creed. I heard it was good, but I heard it was a bit of a grind fest as well.
Yeah, there was a few. I think some people did report that. I think what it is that people that want to just blow through the main story, they were saying that you kind of can't really do that. You kind of have to do some of the side missions to level up and stuff like that. So I think that was the issue for some people. But I suppose it depends how you like to play games, really. If you're someone that plays everything and explores everywhere, I don't think you'll have a problem. But if you just want to blow through the main story, then maybe, you might not enjoy it as much. But
yeah, well, I'm the type of person who is a bit of a mix, I guess.
Yeah.
I like to go through the story pretty quick, and I'll do the odd side mission. But unlike you guys, you tend to take more time with the game, so I have a feeling you might enjoy it more.
From what I could see, I think a lot of people said it was kind of one of the things that was a bit overblown as well. People like to hate on games, don't they, and stuff, and criticize every little minor detail. So I think it was maybe a little bit overblown.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any thoughts on that, Matt?
I played Assassin's Creed Origins, and I think it's apparently quite similar in terms of the mechanics of the game. And that one I didn't really get into. It seems like you need to. It's sort of a time sink game, and I just don't have the time, a lot of the time, to put hours and hours and hours into these games. That I think again, that's why Red Dead's so high at my list, because I didn't feel, even though it was like a 60-hour campaign, I didn't feel like at any point it was a grind. I know you have the first sort of part of the game in the snow that you didn't like, but
oh yeah, don't remind me of that.
Stuck in the snow. Did you not draw dicks in the snow to entertain yourself?
I did actually try doing that. I'm ashamed to admit I did try that.
That's the best part of the game. That and just running your horse off a cliff. I thoroughly recommend that. It's absolutely hilarious.
I haven't tried that yet.
What I wanted to ask you two was, you know, the mission where, well, I was going to say something actually, but I probably can't say it. Yeah, but there's a mission where you there's a mission where you're quite high up. It's not really a spoiler, but yeah, you can say a spoiler if you want. But there's a mission where you're quite high up in the air. Did any of you try and like jump from that height?
No, I didn't. No,
because I was very tempted to just. Yeah, you know which bit I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. It was tempting though. I've got to admit, there was a part of me that was like, I really want to do this. I really want to jump. Just see.
So you didn't get around. So you didn't actually attempt to.
I didn't actually do it, but part of me was tempted. But do you know what I was worried about? I was worried about how far it was going to take me back. Because sometimes on that game it can take you back quite a way. So.
Yeah. See, that's the risk reward right there.
That's the risk reward.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's fair to say we agree it will be Red Dead 2, even though
I think so.
It's not my personal favorite, but I mean that's not saying it's not a fantastic game. So it definitely deserves. I mean, like we've just said, you could give it to probably a choice of 3 there, and they'd all deserve it. Moving on to our next category, which is best ongoing game, and that's described as an award to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. So with that, the nominees are Destiny 2 Forsaken. I think we know a personal friend of ours that would vote for that. Fortnite, No Man's Sky, Overwatch, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. With this one, I think I'd personally go for probably Fortnite. I've enjoyed Fortnite more than you guys, I think, and I like the way that they have moved it on. It seems to always evolve and give a little bit of a different experience, even if it's just switching up the map a little bit. It always helps freshen things up, and as you can tell with the concurrent player base that they have, that it seems to be working for them. How about you guys? Matt, we'll start with you. Any thoughts on that? Who do you think will win that award?
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it will be Fortnite. Is just consistently providing that sort of drip-fed content through skins and through different rewards and stuff like that, and they're doing it in a way that clearly engages players because people are coming back for more and more and more and more, and they still haven't added a new map to the game. I know they consistently sort of change around the locations. They have the little timed events and stuff like that in the game, but the map is still exactly the same map that it was day one. You would have thought by now there'd be another map. They tweak it though, don't they? They do make good, decent tweaks that could bring a player back in. Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege is another good one. Like the amount of operators and maps that they've added to that game. I think with that game, it's just sold more over time than it has at launch, to be honest with you. More people are interested in buying that game now than they were at launch, because I remember when the game first launched, me, you, Serd, and one of our friends we were all playing it, and we were all raving about the game, saying how good it is, but no one was playing it, and now everyone plays it. So it's one of them things. It's just the 21st century, this sort of 21st century trend in gaming, where a game can grow in popularity over time. Because traditionally we've been used to a game coming out, selling 10 million units or whatever it is, and then the player base slowly decreases over time. Whereas now, I feel like a game can come out, sell absolutely nothing, and then a year down the line, it can have 10 times the amount of players than it did on day one, which is a really interesting sort of development. And it's the sort of market that everyone wants to capture now, growing as time goes on as opposed to shrinking.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's something that happens a lot more these days. I don't really remember it happening as much when we were younger. I can't think of a game that managed to do that much. Can you?
No, there was no updates, so games couldn't be updated. It's one of the positives, I suppose, of consoles. Pretty much all consoles being connected to the internet and online only games is you do have the chance to improve them over time.
Yeah, it also gives you the opportunity to release a broken mess and then claim that you can just throw out an update to fix it. How about you, Sud, on this category? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Fortnite's going to win, and that's quite obvious. It might surprise you. I know in the past, Fortnite I've not been the biggest fan of, but I actually would vote for Fortnite as well. I just think that the amount of things they've done to the game to change it, especially when you look when it first came out, when it was just a basic map, but now they've changed all the locations, they've added new things, new weapons, all these different building things they've added to the game. I mean, they had that event, didn't they, where they had Thanos, you could be Thanos and things like that, and they've done some really cool things with it, to be fair. Yeah, and I just can't see with that list of the nominees a game competing with it, really. Might mention Rainbow Six Siege, which has done a fantastic job especially since we first played it. Meant to be a much better game now. I wouldn't actually mind going back to that at some point because it is supposed to be a lot better than it used to be. Overwatch, I think, is always a game that you have to watch out for because a lot of people love that game. I'm not sure it's quite as popular now as it was, maybe last year or the year before, but people still love it.
It's a game I never got around to playing, actually, Overwatch.
Yeah, Overwatch, yeah. Me, Matt, and, we played it earlier in the year. We enjoyed it for a while, but we were a bit too late to the party, really, on that one. If we'd have played, it's one of those games you kind of have to play when it first comes out because everyone's so good at the game after a while and stuff. And if you're going into it now, it's quite hard to go into. But I think No Man's Sky is an interesting one because, we all saw the problems when that first came out on PS4. All the broken promises.
Supposed to be garbage.
Yeah,
it's still supposed to be garbage.
I've
don't
heard
know why that's been nominated because everyone that's played
it's been nominated
bought the game and bought the Xbox version of it because the full release in abbreviation marks is now on Xbox. Came out like 3-4 months ago. Everyone was expecting big things from the update, and apparently it just does barely anything. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard some people say they like it now or something. I don't know. I don't know if that's just maybe Xbox fans, just because it's come to their platform saying it or not. But
I actually bought that game not long ago, so I didn't play it when it was a mess. But I don't know, about a month and a half ago, I thought I'd give it a chance. Since the update.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played it for a couple of days and I haven't gone back.
But I know when the game first came out, they went completely offline, didn't they? Was it Sean Murray guy? He just completely went offline and just didn't. But I think the reason I would say why it's been nominated is because I don't think anyone expected that it would still be a thing. I think that's why it's been nominated because they have, whether you think it works or not, they have tried to fix the game and they've tried to update it. And because they could have easily abandoned it. Let's be honest, they could have abandoned it and just gone right. That's it. But they brought it to Xbox and stuff like that. So. It's, finding a new audience. It's obviously always going to be a divisive game. Some people like them type of games, some people don't. But, I think they've just announced a new free update, haven't they? So they're still updating the game. So I think that's the reason why it's been nominated. But, at the end of the day, it's not going to win anyway. It's not going to win. I wouldn't vote for it.
They're still trying to recover, aren't they, from the mess at the start. It was so overhyped and people bought into it and thought they were going to get this massive exploration game.
Overpromised and under-delivered.
Yeah,
That's
that's perfect.
pretty much the definition of
Seems to
that.
be quite a lot of games doing that at the moment, though, doesn't there, in that space? So
I don't know what Sean Murray was thinking. Every interview, he was saying that you could interact with other players online and all this rubbish. It's just like, what are you doing? Because you're just setting yourself up to fail.
Well, that is one thing
He was
they fixed now,
surprised
isn't it?
that people hated it.
You can apparently do that now. Actually, play with others.
Apparently.
So, yeah.
But even like little things. I mean, I'm sure. Remember reading that he even came out and said, "Oh yeah, you can name your ship," and you think that would be pretty simple, and then you couldn't when it first came out.
Yeah, I think you might be able to now, but when it
No,
first
you can
came
now.
out,
Yeah, you
can now. But when it first came out, yeah, there was it was bad times, really. Bad on Hello Games, the developers, and also bad on Sony, really, because to be honest, they both kind of deceived people, really, with that. So. Not
Which
good.
Is never a good way to go.
That's never a good thing.
In the gaming world.
At least they're trying now.
Honestly,
at least they're trying to do something.
First-hand experience of that game when it came out on PS4 and working at Game, I have never seen as high a percentage of them being traded back in like 2 days after. It was ridiculous. We had about 50 copies like 3 days after the game came out because people were just like, "What the hell is this?"
Is that the most traded in game for a new game that you've experienced?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it was like FIFA. Like when the new FIFA comes out, everyone trades in their old FIFA for like 5 pence or whatever. It was like that, but with a brand new game. It was absolutely mental.
Well, like you said, over-promised and under-delivered. I think that pretty much sums up that game perfectly. So are we all agreeing then, Fortnite, we think we'll win that one?
Yeah, definitely. I can't see anything else winning. I really can't.
Yep.
No case made for any others.
No case made for
Not really. Others. I mean, they've all done good things in the past. I just think Fortnite's too strong. It's too popular.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to vote for it. So simple as that.
I will say something actually on Fortnite. The one thing that you mentioned when they integrated Thanos into the game during the Infinity War hype and obviously the release of the film. That brought me back to the game because I wanted to try it. So I think they have been pretty spot on with their marketing and tweets.
They've done not just Thanos either. They've done a couple of others. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they've done a couple of other guest sort of character appearances like that. I think they did one recently for maybe a film that's come out recently or something. But yeah, it's really cool to see them doing that, and it'd be cool to see what they do in the future with it.
Yeah, most certainly. Well, we'll move on to the next category then, which is Best Game Direction. Let's have a look. So, according to the Game Awards, Best Game Direction will be awarded to a game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. And the nominees for that are A Way Out, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2. That's a good list of games right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
That's really tough. That is really tough. I really enjoyed Detroit Become Human, as you guys know. I'm a big fan of that game. I love Spider-Man. I love them all. I actually think A Way Out as well. That was such a fun game to play.
That's my choice out of those.
Yeah.
That is my choice. Out of that selection, if you're talking about direction and something that's creative and unique, Red Dead Redemption 2, there's not really much creativity in it, it's not something new. It's not something that I haven't experienced before. I knew exactly what I was going to get and enjoyed everything that I got from the game. And it's the same with God of War, but A Way Out is such a unique experience. And if you play that with, a good friend, it is literally one of the most enjoyable short gaming experiences you can have. Absolutely brilliant game. Like just the way that it was split screen and they stuck to it, and you can only play that game in split screen for the entirety of its length. Really, really good, and surprising to see that it was EA that published it, considering they get such bad stick for not supporting any sort of creativity and just making Madden and FIFA every year. Really, really weird to see EA on the front of the box.
Yeah,
but yeah, fair play.
I'd go with that.
Actually supporting it.
Well, the thing with
no
EA
loot boxes in it.
Yeah, but the thing is, this isn't the first time. I mean, they did fund that Unravel game as well, which was an independent game. So they do have some history with funding small little games. But yeah, I think my choice, as I agree with Matt about A Way Out. It was fun. The art direction of the game, fantastic. There's a lot of innovation in that game. I think my choice would be God of War. Now, the reason why is because of the dramatic turn that game took compared to the other three. Just completely different, really. They completely changed the way the game played, the way the game looked. They changed from the Greek setting to the Norse setting, things like that, and what a fantastic game it was as well. Absolutely love that game. I'm trying to think. The other one is Detroit. Yeah, Detroit. You could make an argument as well for art direction. I thought that game did some really cool things as well, innovated in some areas.
Did you complete Detroit?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. It was really
I wasn't
good.
sure. I couldn't remember if you had or not.
I enjoyed it, just maybe not as much as their previous efforts. But I think, a lot of people might just jump to the obvious, Red Dead. But no, I don't think I'd vote for Red Dead in this category. I think as great as the game was, innovation, I suppose it innovated in minor, tiny ways. But I think for me, I'd go for God of War. It's really hard to say what will win, though. I mean, that's a tough one. I think God of War could win it, but also maybe there will be a surprise and maybe A Way Out could win, or Detroit, something like that. But what do you think, Luke?
Tough one. Really tough one. I'm not really sure. I'd like to see Detroit win it because I like that game so much. I really enjoyed it. Is there a massive innovation there, really, though? I
mean, I do think there was some innovation. I think it's a tough one, isn't it? Because you can say, well, it's been done before in Heavy Rain and things like that. So is it really an innovation or is it just an evolution? I suppose it's with Detroit maybe more of an evolution. But it still does some really interesting things I've not seen before in games. So it's a tough one.
True,
I think A Way Out is going to win it just because last year Joseph Fares was the mental guy that came on the stage and just started shouting a load of rubbish. What did he say? I'm trying to remember what he said of the time.
I can't remember what he said.
Did he dig out EA or something?
Oh, that was it. He said
and say that there's no loot boxes. And no loot boxes as well. And started cheering, even though EA were publishing his own game. That was amazing.
Didn't he backtrack though pretty quick in the same interview and then praise EA?
They need to get him back in just to pick up his award so he can just be a mentalist on stage again, give everyone a bit of entertainment.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see what he'd have to say this year. That'd be, who knows? I mean, after his rant last year, it'd be interesting. But
he's getting another game funded, so it's a success.
Yep. Well, it did well, didn't it? I think it sold better than they thought it was going to. So
yeah, and even better, you and your friend could go half price on the game.
Yeah. If you play co-op with anyone, then you need, and you haven't played A Way Out, you need to play it because it is such a unique experience.
Fantastic co-op
with a friend. Absolutely incredible.
Definitely.
Whether it's split screen with someone sitting next to you or online, it's just a brilliant game.
Gets so tense towards the end as well.
It does, and I have a question about the end. So, spoiler alert, just in case, if you want to skip past this part. And there you go, I've given you enough time, I think. What did you guys win or did you lose?
Well, I won because I was playing against my girlfriend, so it wasn't much of a competition for me. Well, nah, in reality, I mean, I don't know. I think it depends how quick your reactions are and things like that, doesn't it? I think, and if you're more used to playing games, you're probably going to have a big advantage in this sort of thing because it was all completely based on reactions, wasn't it? The end part.
Yeah. So, I had the most interesting experience with that because obviously I was playing against Perks. Played with him, on every single online game for about 10 years, whether it's Gears, Halo, COD, we've always been competing. Who's better? Who's the better player? So that ending was just perfect for us, and I absolutely demolished him. And obviously, as he always does, he blamed it on lag.
Lag, yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Absolute joker.
Whose game was it? Whose game was it?
It was mine. But
home court advantage.
Yeah, host advantage and all that, whatever rubbish he was banging on about. He never complained about lag at any other point in the game, just when he got wrecked by me.
And just in case, well, actually, I guess few people who listen to this probably won't know who Perks is, but he's basically the fourth one in our group who we play games with. And yeah, he does like to blame certain things on lag. That's for sure.
He blames every death he's ever got on any game on lag.
Well, yeah, I think a big portion of gamers tend to do that anyway, to be fair. So, I'm
looking forward to the day he comes on the podcast. It's going to be interesting to see his response.
No, he couldn't make the podcast today because of lag.
Yeah.
Yep, that's for sure.
It'd be interesting to see his response.
Well, I played against another friend of ours, Tedward, and I
Tedward?
won. Yes, I managed to win. He wasn't best pleased with that, but it definitely is. It's a great ending to the game as well, because like you said, it's really intense, and the way they spin it with the storyline, yeah, there's a good twist. Didn't see it coming actually. I don't know if you guys seen it coming.
No, I didn't.
No, it was really good. Really good the way they did it. I really enjoyed the whole game. It was only a short experience. What was it, 3-4 hours long? But really fun. Really fun. Well worth the money that I spent on it.
Yeah, definitely. If it does end up winning in that category, then I wouldn't be against it. Loved it.
Yep.
Well, moving on then to the next category is Best Narrative. So this is for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Your nominees, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Life is Strange 2 Episode 1, Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2 again. So, I mean, for this one, because I enjoyed the story so much, I'm going to be biased and go with my favourite game, probably Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man was really good.
I love that game, and I love the story.
Fantastic story. Really good.
However, saying that, when I think about it, I love the story in Detroit Become Human too. So it's a difficult one.
Yeah. I think for me, it's going to be another boring answer. You're going to hate it again, but it's Red Dead for me. I think the narrative in that game it's what Rockstar do. It's what they do best. This is their forte. Narrative is, they're the kings of narrative, really, as far as I'm concerned. Every single one of the games has had a great story, really. So, yeah, it's Red Dead. I think I just love it so much. I haven't even completed it yet, and I love it, and that's what I would vote for. And I think it's going to win it as well. I do think it'll win the narrative. God of War, fantastic game. Was it a memorable game story-wise? Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, it was a fantastic game. I don't think many people... I'm not sure that many people are going to think, oh, that was the best story they've played this year. Spider-Man, yeah, I think Spider-Man could be Red Dead's closest competition. The story in that was fantastic, and I think that was the strongest part of the game with the web slinging, the story in that game.
I think Spider-Man was more of a surprise that the story was good. That's why that might be sort of ahead in your thinking. I think it's between God of War and Red Dead.
I just think we've played them all. I don't think God of War story holds a candle to Red Dead's personally.
The reason I think Red Dead is so powerful is because everyone knows what's going to happen if they've played Red Dead Redemption. It's a prequel. All these characters that are in it, we know what their eventual fate is, but the fact that you do know, and yet the story is still so sort of emotional, so powerful. I don't want to get into too much detail about it because you talk about spoiler alert. Red Dead is a game that a lot of people will still be playing and not be very far into, so I don't want to sort of inadvertently spoil the game. But the fact that it can have so much power, even though you know what the eventual fate, or think that you know what the eventual fate of the characters is something that's really, really incredible. Dan Houser, like head writer at Rockstar, bravo, hats off to him, because it is an incredible experience.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, a lot of people, I think you're including this, Luke, you're not keen on prequels, but to me, what I found great about this game is that half the time when I'm playing it, I don't feel like I am playing a prequel. I feel like I'm playing a standalone game in itself, which it is obviously a standalone game, but, I didn't even get the sense of like, oh, well, this is only a prequel to what's going to happen later on. And, Red Dead Redemption didn't feel like that to me, even though you know if you've played Red Dead Redemption, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, sort of, I suppose, but it didn't feel like that to me. It feels like its own story, and, I said this before, but Arthur Morgan, for me, one of the best protagonists I've ever played as in a game.
He is really good.
Fantastic protagonist.
He's a really great character. When I think about, like you said, though, about prequels, yeah, I'm not a fan. However, I guess I got lucky in a sense now that I look back. I didn't feel lucky at the time, but I was only halfway through Red Dead Redemption 1 before it got ruined for me, the end.
Yeah.
And then I stopped playing as a result because I couldn't be bothered after finding out what happened.
Yeah.
And And I guess that saved me for this game because I was able to enjoy this so much, and I didn't even have the prequel looming over me, really.
No.
Yes, I knew what happened to certain characters, but I didn't know as many characters as you guys knew, the fates of them. So it was like, I was finding out about these characters for the first time. And it actually made me want to play Red Dead again, Red Dead 1, all the way through.
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. It makes me want to play it. When I finish number 2, I really do want to play the first one again because it's just so impactful and everything. You just kind of want to carry on with it and finish the first game. But I think the reason why the narrative is so good in this game, though, is because of the protagonist. I think if the protagonist wasn't as strong as he is, the story probably wouldn't be as effective. But because he is so good, the protagonist, and the characters around him are fantastic as well, that is what drives the narrative through in this game. Really is fantastic. Yeah, and looking at the other games, God of War, really enjoyed the story in that, but I think I'd put it probably in third place behind Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man would be my second choice for story. I know Matt said it was because maybe it was a complete surprise. You don't expect it in a game like that, the story to be the main point, but I just really enjoyed the Spider-Man story. It was a complete surprise. The voice acting was fantastic as well in that game. And it was just really interesting.
Yeah, it was a great game. Have any of us? Well, I know I haven't played this game. So, have any of you guys played Life is Strange 2?
No, I played the first series, Life is Strange 1, and yeah, it was really good game. Very similar to The Walking Dead in style. That sort of like you don't actually do much in the game. It's more like a point and click sort of thing where you pick a few things up and you make choices and things like that. I haven't had a chance to play the second series yet, so I can't really comment on that. But even if I had, I don't think it would hold a candle to 2 or 3 of the other games on this list. I think an interesting one is Detroit, because I know, Luke, you really enjoyed Detroit. I enjoyed it, but I know it's one of your favourite games of the year, isn't it, in terms of narrative?
Yeah, I thought it was better than Heavy Rain as well. Unpopular opinion there, but I did.
No, I think, to be honest, I'm not sure that is. I think my view of Heavy Rain being better than Detroit might be the unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people actually do prefer
That's only because you
Detroit.
couldn't do the quick time events and fell into the grinder.
Oh, on Heavy Rain?
That's like the easiest quick time event in the history of mankind. I don't know
what happened
at
there.
that part.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that the one when you're trapped in the car?
Yeah.
In the junkyard?
I don't know what happened with that one.
I didn't even know you could die at that part. I thought it was just plot armor, and
you definitely
what
can.
you did, you always escape.
No, trust me, you definitely can. I saw that firsthand. But so, would you, Luke, put Spider-Man ahead of Detroit then?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. Spider-Man was my favourite game, so I don't know. I really enjoyed Detroit. It's a close one, but if I have to give a definitive answer, then yeah, I'll go with Spider-Man because I enjoyed it the most.
Yeah. What do we think's going to win though? Because I do think Red Dead will win this.
I think Red Dead will win it.
Yeah.
I think they're going to give it to God of War. I think Red Dead should win it, and I think they'll give it to God of War because they always like to spread out the awards.
They do.
I feel like of all the awards, like that'll be one that God of War wins.
I think there's a couple coming up though where categories coming up though where God of War's got a chance. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it'll definitely be an interesting one. We'll see how it goes with the award. Moving on to the next topic, or not topic, even the next category, which is best score / music. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, that one. For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. And the nominees for that one are Celeste, God of War, Spider-Man, Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, Octopath Traveler, and Red Dead Redemption 2. For this one, it's a bit harder for me because none really stick out. For me, which would...
Well, I was going to say for me, it leads nicely onto what I said before about God of War having a shot, because I think this is a category where I would probably vote for God of War, and I think God of War will probably win. Because the soundtrack on that game it's so powerful when you're playing through the game and everything. The change in score as well at times is fantastic. So I think God of War has a really good chance of winning this category, and it's tough because Red Dead soundtrack's fantastic as well. But Spider-Man, Spider-Man had some cool soundtracks, but I'm not quite sure Spider-Man would hold up to the other two. I think it's between God of War and Red Dead.
I
think God of War will win.
Ni no Kuni might win as well.
Yeah, but JRPGs, they've not got the same popularity they once had. I'm not sure about that. And Octopath Traveler apparently has a good soundtrack as well, but I think these things a lot of the time go on popularity of the game, don't they? And Ni no Kuni and Octopath Traveler are not going to be as popular as God of War and Red Dead. And I think for me, I would vote for God of War. That's the one when I think about soundtrack this year. When I was playing through it again, that's the one I think about. And that's the one I would vote for and I think will probably win. So yeah, that'd be my opinion on it.
Weird one. I'd probably vote for Red Dead, in that category. Just because the music was so well timed, shall I put it? Like every time you're doing something in the game, whether it's sort of a gang robbery or if it's an emotional moment, I feel the score went really, really well with certain parts of the game. Again, it's just it's fresh in my mind. I think that's going to play into a lot of people's heads, more than anything. The fact that God of War was March and Red Dead was literally like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? When you think back to God of War.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that long, really, I suppose. But yeah, I think it was April 20th or something like that came out. So it's been a while, but
it's the same with movies, though. It's the same thing. If a good movie comes out obviously nearer towards the Oscar season, they tend to stick in the mind more, at the forefront of your mind, and they tend to get more votes as a result. So, it's something that can easily happen with the game in the gaming world as well.
Interesting though, because that didn't happen last year, did it? With Game of the Year, because Zelda won it last year, and everyone thought Mario, Super Mario Odyssey was going to come in and steal it, but actually Zelda
all year though. Since I played it last year, I was saying to you that's going to win Game of the Year. There's not even a doubt in my mind that that's going to win Game of the Year.
Yeah,
anyone who's actually played Zelda to completion would I think holds the same sort of thoughts. Super Mario Odyssey was really good, but Zelda was just such a great game.
If Zelda went up against Red Dead this year, who wins?
Red Dead, I think. I know people might think, Nintendo has a lot of love and things like that, but
Red Dead would win, but it'd be
I think Red Dead would win.
It would be this year.
I mean, it'd be, it's ironic, isn't it? Because, last year I think what happened was with Mario Odyssey and Zelda, they kind of split each other, didn't they? A lot of people that may have voted for, say if, I think Mario Odyssey would have won easily if Zelda wasn't there. And I think Zelda would have won even more easily if Mario hadn't come out the same year. I think, Mario would have won, hands down, really, if it wasn't for Zelda. So that did play a factor.
Who votes for this? It's not the public, is it?
You can, public. It's public and, industry insiders, YouTubers, things like that.
Industry insiders.
Yeah, the sort of, the people that you see at IGN, GameSpot, people like that, they vote. Their votes count. I think their votes might count more or something. It's a weird system. It's a really weird system, but the public does get to vote because I was on the website earlier and you can actually vote yourself. So it's I think it's a combination of the two.
Yeah. Well, I know you said you think Red Dead will win, but Matty, I know how much you enjoyed the Zelda game last year. Which one would you choose between Red Dead and Zelda? Putting you on the spot.
A hard question now. This is like choosing between two of your kids. This.
I didn't realize you held Zelda in such high regard.
No, neither did I.
I'm not even a Nintendo fan. I own a Switch and I'll be playing Pokemon soon because I've just got a Switch back after it being in hiatus for a while. But yeah, I'd probably go for Zelda.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked.
Good call.
I know. So am I. I'd never even played a Zelda game before that one. Zelda, I literally just wanted to play for hours and hours and hours on end. So.
Well, that's what Nintendo does best with their games, doesn't it? They're so fun to play. I think that's why people love them so much. That's why they've got so many fans around the world. They're just fun, easy to play games. and people love them.
I think it's such a hard choice between Zelda and Red Dead because they're brilliant for different reasons. Like, it's the gameplay loop in Zelda that's good, the combat mechanics and wanting to keep going back for more and keep, exploring, leveling up. And in Red Dead, it's more the writing and the story and the attention to detail. I think everyone can agree the gameplay in Rockstar games isn't always the best. It's clunky at the best of times, but you forgive it because of how amazingly detailed the game is. So yeah, they're both brilliant games for different reasons, but I'd probably still choose Zelda.
That's fair enough, and it was
because of how hooked that was.
Difficult decision for you.
Can I just? I'd actually just like to. One I would like to say is because I know we all enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2, but a comparison I'd like to make a question to you both is what about if you had to choose between Red Dead Redemption 2 or The Witcher 3? Because I think that's a really interesting one.
Witcher 3.
Because you've got to take into account. Yeah, I was going to say you've got to take into account Witcher 3 came out 3 years ago as well. So, but to me, I find that really hard. I really don't know which one I'd choose. That's a really tough one.
I think I enjoyed Witcher 3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's actually quite an easy one for me as well. I got really hooked with The Witcher, Witcher 3, and I did a lot of side quests and it took me a long time to complete the actual story, which I only seem to do when I'm really hooked on a game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Witcher 3 for me.
What about you, Mark?
Red Dead. I did love The Witcher, but at times I thought it dragged. So that's just my own personal opinion. Just because it was so long. It was amazing how it literally it's held my attention for 100 hours.
Yeah.
But the sort of final part of the game I found to be a bit of a drag, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I think, the end of the game, I don't think the story was anywhere as strong as narrative-wise. Red Dead is far superior to Witcher 3, in my opinion. But there is things Witcher 3 does better than Red Dead as well.
So which one are you
combat
choosing?
Things like,
I know how much you love Witcher 3.
I don't. It's really hard. If someone put a gun to my head,
I am putting a gun to your head.
Okay, you're putting a gun to my head, right?
Sophie's putting a gun to your head for your comment earlier.
Yeah, I'm sure. Probably Red Dead, I think. It would be very close. To me, they're the two best by a mile for the whole generation. So, just Red Dead, I think. But it's tough. It's really tough.
I'm surprised. I thought you'd got
my opinion could change. Yeah, but my opinion on any given day could probably change. That's how close they are. But I think and obviously I've just played Red Dead as well, so my opinion is probably a little biased towards Red Dead. But
yeah,
I'd have to play them both again, I think. But it's hard to play Witcher 3 again.
That'd be a
100-hour game. So yeah. Although I would say one thing, I haven't played the DLC for The Witcher, so that might influence me because I know you played the DLC and you said it was excellent, so that might influence me again.
Loved them both. They were really.
Let's hope for Red Dead 2 DLC, single player DLC. I think we all want that.
Do you think it'll happen? They never came out with GTA 5 DLC because online.
I'm not sure. I hope so, but I'm not that hopeful. I think they're so obsessed now. GTA Online did so well for them. They're so obsessed. I mean, I think there's a chance, but I think it's a slim chance. It's disappointing if that is the case, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that we will. I mean, only time will tell to see how it goes, I guess. Depends how the online performs and how much money it makes them. See if they.
I don't think it's going to make them as much money as GTA. And the only reason I say that is because the audience that plays the game is probably going to be older. I'd say the audience that's playing Red Dead and that's buying Red Dead is probably mid-20s, early 30s as a majority. Whereas I think GTA, obviously mid-20s, early 30s, will still buy GTA 6. But I feel like there's a lot more 12-year-olds playing it that are a lot more susceptible to go into a shop and buy, 50 quid worth of GTA money so that they can buy whatever they buy on there. Bugatti Veyron that's called Barry Vectra or whatever. I don't know what they do. I don't know why you want to spend so much money on that game online because I've never thought it was that good, to be perfectly honest.
I didn't mind it. I actually think it's all right. It can be fun with friends, but
what are you going to buy in Red Dead? That's the thing. What's going to be those items that people are going to want to buy?
clothing,
houses,
different weapons.
maybe.
Yeah, housing.
You can't have that much flash
things
stuff
for your
really,
camp.
just because of the setting.
A lot of camp upgrades, things like that. I'd imagine maybe things like that. But there's a lot we don't know about, isn't there? So with that, it might. So we'll have to see. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, it is a wait and see game with that one. Moving on to our next category, which is best performance. So this is awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and / or performance capture. The nominees are Brian Dechar as Connor for Detroit Become Human, Christopher Judge as Kratos for God of War, Melissa Mahout as Cassandra, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Where do you guys sit on this then? Who had the best voice acting for you with a character? I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah, this category is so tough. I mean, any of them could win it basically. I think this is the category out of all of them that could go to any of the 5 because they've all put in great performances this year. But again, obviously people might be getting sick of me saying this now, but I think I want it to be Roger Clark. I think his performance as Arthur Morgan was nothing short of sensational, to be honest. Absolutely incredible. And without him, the whole game is probably would be different. I think he drives the narrative in the game. It's just a brilliant performance, and not only him. I mean, everyone, Dutch's character as well, fantastic voice actor. But yeah, Roger Clark for me, I think. You look at Kratos, the voice actor for Kratos, fantastic, did a great job there. I really liked the voice actor for Connor in Detroit. That was really enjoyable. But again, I mentioned them all really. Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker, fantastic performance. Believable Peter, sounded really good as Peter, sounded really good as Spider-Man. But I have to go with Roger Clark, and I think Roger Clark probably will win. Although I think it's going to be so close, it could go to any of them. It really could.
Yeah.
I want it to be Christopher Judge because his performance as Kratos was just Kratos. He's exactly the sort of embodiment of Kratos that you want, and obviously that was a really, really great performance. Honestly, I think that what was her name? Because I haven't even played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but I've seen so much. I've seen so much hype around Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey being such a good character. And bear in mind the fact that you can choose a male or female character. People are choosing the female character. I feel just because of that aspect, she will win it in that category. So that's who I think is going to win it. But if I had the choice, it'd be Christopher Judge, Kratos.
It's so hard, isn't it? It's such a hard. It's the one most up in the air as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
The only surprise is that Mr. In Every Game Troy Baker isn't on the nominees list.
I know, yeah.
What's he voiced this year, though? I mean, has he really voiced much this year? I mean, has he had a break or something?
People are finally getting sick of seeing Troy Baker in every game.
I feel like he probably has been in a few games that maybe smaller games we don't know about, but I don't remember him being prominent in a game this year. But I'm sure he'll be back next year.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he will be.
In about 50 different games, probably.
Yeah, for sure. I think this category's hard. I think Yuri Lowenthal, Roger Clark, and Brian Dechar as Connor. Man, they're the 3 for me. I think I'd probably go maybe Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker. I thought his performance was really good, and I really enjoyed the Spider-Man, the character in the game. It sounded to me how I would envisage Spider-Man being. I love the game a lot, so I'm probably gonna go for him. Who do I think will win it though? I think it actually might be Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan.
Yeah, that would be my choice. I think that's probably who will win. But it's funny you mentioned Yuri Lowenthal. Actually, I recently went back to Sunset Overdrive. Marty's played that, really enjoyed it. And it's so strange because he's a voice actor for the main character in that. It's so strange going back to that game and hearing him because you're just constantly thinking it's the same voice as Peter Parker, and it's like I feel like I'm playing Spider-Man in a different game. It's so strange. So strange. But
I can imagine.
he did a really good job as Peter Parker.
He did.
But,
He nailed it.
It's hard because if I was to say who my second choice would be, Christopher Judge did do a great job. There's no doubt about that. It's Kratos. Fantastic. It'd probably be Connor, you know. I thought Connor's voice, the voice acting for that character was incredible. And
It's
it
not just
suited the
voice
game
acting,
so well.
though, is it? It's an entire performance.
No, but it's the entire performance as that character. You know, the motion capture, you know, of him for that game. Because, it's him, isn't it? That's the whole point of Detroit. It is them, isn't it? So
I'd actually
actors.
heard, though, online that people didn't like his performance that much. They found the character in the performance a bit boring.
I completely disagree with that. I don't know who's saying that, but they're wrong. Sorry, you're out there, but I think you're wrong. Completely wrong. I think he was the most interesting character in that game by a mile. If he wasn't in that game, the game would have been a complete snooze fest for me. His segments were probably the only interesting segments for me. The other two characters I could have left, really, and not been that bothered about.
I enjoyed his relationship with the detective. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
Clancy Brown played him. But
Clancy Brown, yeah, it was fun. He did a great performance, by the way, as well. He was fantastic. But he carried that game for me. So I'm surprised that people weren't keen on him, because I thought he was the only one that stopped the game from being a complete snooze fest, as far as I'm concerned.
And moving on to our next category, then we have best sports/racing game. Self-explanatory again. For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games, the candidates or nominees are FIFA 19, Forza Horizon 4, Mario Tennis Aces, NBA 2K19, and Pro Evolution Soccer 2019. What are your thoughts? I mean, back in the day, we would have spoken about FIFA, but that's been such a long time.
But it's Forza. It's not even in doubt that it's going to be Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, completely agree.
If that doesn't win that category,
it's a travesty.
I will eat my hat.
It's
a travesty.
It would be a travesty.
What is even more of a travesty is the fact that FIFA 19 is on that list, because it is an absolute pile of steaming hot garbage. One of the worst FIFAs I've ever played in years. I don't know why that's on the list, because the gameplay is still shocking. The servers are still broken. Ultimate Team has had like the biggest drop off in years of players. I was reading the other week. So Jadon Sancho, they made an informed Sancho, Borussia Dortmund player. I know a lot of people won't follow football, but basically they just put his position in completely the wrong position and had to pull him from the game. And it's like, who are these
ridiculous.
amateurs? They get paid good money for this, and they don't even know what position he plays. They put him as left mid. I don't think he's ever played left mid in his bloody life.
Yeah, that's a bit of a strange one.
Mid for Dortmund all season. But yeah, not just that, the game itself is just shocking. So FIFA being on that list is a joke. If that wins, then I'll just turn off the stream and stop watching because it doesn't deserve anything.
Boycott the Game Awards if FIFA wins.
Yeah, boycott the Game Awards if FIFA wins.
Hashtag. Get a hashtag in front of that and get it.
That'd be pretty unfortunate if that was the first award. You'd have to boycott the whole show.
You would. I mean,
yeah.
Considering how, putting it into context, considering how much we used to play FIFA, in recent years, it's just become pretty much unplayable for us. It's not enjoyable
progressively
anymore.
Worse.
Yeah, it's got progressively worse. The one where I think it first started turning at the start of this generation, didn't it? Maybe FIFA 13, 14. That's when it first started going downhill. And ever since maybe 13 or 14, it's just been a steady decline. And it's the state that it's in now.
I think there's been one game in between there that I thought was all right. So it might have been, was it maybe 14, 15? That I didn't mind.
14 I didn't mind, but after that, it was downhill from there for me.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've played a FIFA game consistently. Anyway, it's a good few years now.
Yeah, but don't worry, you can play the journey as Grandad or whatever and score a goal in the Champions League final.
Grandad Jim.
We all love doing that. That was a great finish there.
Jim Hunter.
Jim Hunter, one of the greatest footballers to ever live.
Yeah.
Did you know he scored 14 goals for Manchester United in the 1969-70 season?
Or Manchester City for me, or Liverpool for Luke, yeah.
Yeah. It got around.
He got around, didn't he?
Drogba, he was.
Best player of all time, played for like every single top club or something. Yeah.
So we all agree that no to FIFA.
Yeah, we all
Yeah,
agree. The
we
bottom
all agree
line
on
is FIFA's a joke, and Forza Horizon
Forza
4
Horizon has to
is
win
an
that
absolute
category.
masterpiece. One of the best racing games ever played. Playground have knocked out of the park again.
Yeah.
It's almost boring how good their games are. Like Horizon 2, 3, and now 4 have all been amazing, and that should win easily.
I don't think it's just one of the best. I think it's the best racing game that's ever been. I think it is the best there's ever been. I do think Forza Horizon 4 is the best. There's just nothing like it. It's the level of quality in the game is unsurpassed by anything else out there. So
the only
definitely
gripe I'd have on Forza Horizon 4 is the map's a little small, but obviously that's
by design, though, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
as well.
It's countered by the fact that you obviously have the 4 seasons and it changes, each season.
It's interesting.
But the map in general is a little bit small, but
I think it's a bit smaller than the third one, but I don't have a problem with it.
Is.
I think the game's just absolutely superb. It's a game you can keep coming back to as well. If you just want to relax for an hour, listen to some great music on the radio stations that they have. It's fantastic. It really is.
Yeah,
Brilliant
I've heard
game.
great things about it. I'm yet to play it.
I see. This is the thing with the Game Awards. I'm disappointed. I know why it's not in Game of the Year categories, because people don't usually. Has a racing game ever been nominated for Game of the Year? I'm not sure it has, but to me, it should be in Game of the Year because it's one of the best games this year. I don't care about the category. I think it should be in Game of the Year. I'm not saying it'd win. It'd have no chance of winning, but I think it should at least be nominated and recognised because it's the pinnacle of racing games. And I'm disappointed it wasn't nominated. But I understand why.
Strong feelings.
Yeah. Well, people just I don't know. People have this stigma with racing games, don't they? Like, a racing game can't win Game of the Year. It's like, well, why not? Why can't it? If it's the best game, if it's one of the best games of the year, why can't it win?
Well, which game does it replace on the list?
It's hard because I would say something like Monster Hunter, but then I know a lot of people love Monster Hunter. It just wasn't for me. And I know a lot of people love that Celeste indie game, but one of them two, I think, for me, it would replace. Possibly Monster Hunter, possibly Celeste, but I think it should be in over probably. I'd put it in over both of them, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, well, maybe in future years it might get a shout in there if they carry on going the way they are, because I know people absolutely adore this game.
Yeah.
Which game on the list then do we think it's nearest competitor for this category? Matty?
What were the others? I don't even remember. All I remember is FIFA's bad.
I think Mario Tennis Aces was on there, wasn't it?
Yeah, NBA 2K19 and Pro Evolution Soccer 2019.
Oh, none of them really stand out. NBA is always solid, but haven't played it for years. I think the last one I played is like NBA 2K14, so I don't know.
I think Mario Tennis Aces will be
the years
second.
Worse.
Just because it's Mario.
That wins just because it's Mario.
It's Mario, and I think it's apart from all what from what you see, it's a good game. It's a good sports game, but the strength of Mario will probably get that vote. A lot of Switch users will vote for it, but I think overall Forza, it's one of the categories I'm most certain Forza will win. I'd be very shocked if Forza doesn't win this category, but we'll see.
Well, we already know if FIFA wins, it's #boycott Game
Boycott the Game Awards.
So
#boycott Game Awards.
Well, yeah, looking at the list, it does seem like a dead cert for Forza Horizon 4.
Let's hope.
I can't really make an argument for the others because FIFA 19, although I don't think it's as bad as last year, I still think it's bad. So, I can't see that winning. Mario Tennis Aces, I can't really comment on because I haven't played it. NBA, I usually like the NBA games, but I never got round to playing 2K19. I read all the disappointment with the loot boxes and obviously stifling progression as a result with VC, so I stayed away from that game. You guys don't really play the NBA games, though, do you?
No, I don't really. I think I've played a few in the past, but no, I don't play them. But Pro Evolution Soccer, to be fair, good this year once again. Good solid game. The best football game for me out there.
I think they've both been garbage this year.
No, I think Pro's fine. Well, whatever. I mean, I just think it's a really good football game. I think it's the best pure football game you can play. So
I definitely think
I'd vote for that over
better than FIFA.
But I wouldn't vote for any of them over Forza. Not a chance. So
Yeah, well,
Yep.
I think we all agree there that Forza's probably going to win. And then on to our last category, which is best multiplayer game. So this is for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genres. The nominees are Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Destiny 2 Forsaken, Fortnite, Monster Hunter World, and somehow Sea of Thieves is in there. Or
Is
also,
these last two categories just designed to rattle me? Because I feel like they are.
well, as
Well,
Luke,
when we were going through, me and Luke were going through the list earlier, and we saw Sea of Thieves, and we just kind of sighed and laughed at each other because
multiplayer game
Game
apparently.
is
Yeah.
so bad. That game is so bad, and this is coming from one of the biggest Microsoft fans you will see. The game is a steaming pile of garbage, hot trash, and I don't know how that is on that list.
that's 2 games now you've gave that honour of
Yeah.
Steam and pile of garbage along with FIFA.
Well, yeah, there's
He added
a
hot
lot of
trash
games that
there,
are
so-
on that. Yeah, there are a lot of games that are going on that pile, but they're two that are right at the top of that pile this
Yeah.
year because they were garbage. And we give Sea of Thieves a chance. I
did.
tried my hardest to get Perks to play it with us because I thought, yeah, this is going to be a good, fun co-op experience, and it was just dreadful.
It
wasn't good.
horrendous.
What
I
there
mean-
was, he just sailed around. Sometimes got attacked by other players. Did terrible quests. Fought literally the only thing you fought in the game was skeletons, and that's it. Just skeletons everywhere. No, like sort of other NPCs to fight. You could shoot some sharks in the water, and then the human like interaction was just shocking because say little Jimmy comes and he's there with his blunderbuss and he's trying to shoot me in the head with it. Yeah. Right, he misses, and I kill him with my cutlass. Right, well done. I've robbed his ship. He spawns 2 meters away from me and then just kills me anyway. What's the point? What is actually going on? Who designed this game? It's a multiplayer-only game, and the design, like the game design, is just shocking. Or maybe
Yeah,
it'll
it's
be
not the
good in
best.
5 years. I'm sick of hearing that. It's good when it's released, or it gets deleted off my hard drive, or thrown in the fucking bin.
Strong words there.
Well, as we affectionately called it or renamed it, Sea of Piss. And
That's a kind name.
that is a kind
It's a
name
good name.
for a bad game.
It's a game it probably deserves.
And people are going to get really rattled because for some reason people really like Sea of Thieves. I don't
Yeah, a
know
lot of
what it
people
is.
do love it.
Maybe it's because you
A
can
lot of
play the
people really like
accordion. You can play the Daniel Bryan theme on the accordion. What's the point? Rubbish.
It's a good theme, to be fair. But
It's one of the best things
Um,
about the game, that theme.
yeah, I think it
Is
is.
it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think me and you, Luke, do you remember we were sat in the cave for 2 hours playing that theme, so we know all about it.
Yeah, trying to
So,
figure
trying to-
out that puzzle, getting nowhere, and just kept playing
Seeing your
that.
character doing a stupid dance every time. Oh, it was hilarious stuff. It really was. But
Wow. I can't believe that game's been nominated.
I have a feeling, right? I know I said about FIFA, I'll boycott the Game Awards. I have a feeling Sea of Thieves is going to win that. I don't
No,
know.
I
I just
don't.
have this horrible feeling that it's
I
going
don't
to
think
win.
it's going to win at all. Not a chance. Not a
I don't
chance
know.
to see if he's.
I don't know.
Look at the other nominees. Not
There's
a
been
chance.
so many shocks, and like
Not a
Fortnite should
chance.
win it probably, but
I think Fortnite's going to win it hands down, but it's not what I mean. If we're talking about, if we're being serious and talking about, who we actually think could win or should win, I would go for Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and I'm sure maybe Luke, you would agree with that as well,
I do agree.
because I think that's the most fun I've had this year in a multiplayer game. Well, probably the most fun I've had in a multiplayer game for a couple of years, to be honest. I think mainly because of the Blackout mode. The multiplayer's fine, zombies okay, but the Blackout mode has been great. I love it. It's really addictive. The best battle royale game mode for me. I know people would disagree and say Fortnite, but I think it's superior to Fortnite. Just from gameplay level, the gunplay is so good in Call of Duty. We all know how good the gunplay is in Call of Duty, and it just makes such a difference in battle royale. It really does. The ability to actually shoot people makes a difference. When you compare it to something like PUBG, where it's so laggy and the gunplay is just horrible, really horrible.
You can't even
so-
pick up half the guns on
Oh,
PUBG
it's-
when you first land.
It's
They
so
don't
laggy
load.
as well. That's the great thing I love about it. It's so smooth, isn't it? Blackout. It's so smooth. It feels so nice to play. It looks great as well. It looks really good. But having said that, I think it's pretty obvious Fortnite's going to win. I think It's just is, isn't it? It's the most popular game in the world. People are going to be voting for it. The fact that the public can vote means Fortnite's pretty much assured, I think.
Unless they want to troll us and be pirates and vote for Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I just don't think Sea of Thieves has got a chance. I think there's more.
With an eye patch and cutlass, and it's going to just be like, yar har fiddly dee. Sea of Thieves is the winner.
Sea of Thieves is the one for me. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And then you'll see Aaron Greenberg coming out, our favourite person, said. Aaron Greenberg.
Yeah, love a bit of Greenberg.
Affectionately known.
Yeah, great guy.
Looks like a fat Phil Mitchell in an Xbox t-shirt. And he comes out taking all the praise for everyone's awards. You remember when he came out for Forza Horizon 3, I think it was? And he came out and he was literally just... Everyone else was talking about how much, how important the developers are and how important first party is and, just loving gaming. And all Aaron Greenberg came out and did is just advertise Xbox One for 5 minutes and then go. It's like, no, give a shout out to Playground Games because they've actually made you a good game there, mate. Stop taking credit for their award and just get off the stage.
I do remember that. Yeah. When he was talking about sales figures and things like that, and it's like, people don't want to hear about sales figures at a Games Awards.
It's supposed to be a celebration of the art form of gaming.
Yeah.
Not
that was a bit of a... But he's a marketer, isn't he? That is his job, so I suppose... But at the end of the day, should he be doing that in the Game Awards? No, he shouldn't, really.
No, because no one else did it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. But I'd love Black Ops 4 to win this category, but I don't think it will. I think it's probably going to be, if you're looking at the voting, maybe finish second, but I think it's going to be... Fortnite. What would be interesting to see, I wonder what Purtis would think, because obviously, Destiny and COD are the only two games he plays. So I wonder what he'd vote for. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe we'll get him on next week and get his thoughts on it.
Yeah. I'll revisit that question for him.
How about you, Matt? What are you thinking? I mean, I think we all agree there's going to be Fortnite.
It's a tough one, that. Just because I haven't really been engaged by any multiplayer games this year. Like pure multiplayer. The only sort of co-op one was A Way Out. There's a couple more co-op games, but in terms of actual competitive multiplayer, I don't really think I've actually enjoyed anything that much this year. So yeah, that's quite a difficult one.
Yeah,
I don't think Black Ops will win it. I just think it'll be Fortnite. It's the type of thing, was it a couple of Game Awards ago, like 2014 or 2015, when Overwatch won about 6 categories just because it was the in game.
Overwatch won Game of the Year.
Yeah, won
2016.
Yeah, so there you go. Like, it's going to be Fortnite just because of popularity.
I can't believe it won that over Uncharted 4, to be honest. I still can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that as well.
It was a big shot at the time.
Yeah, I want Black Ops 4 to win, like you said. It's the most fun I've had with a multiplayer game for a while.
I don't think it will win, just because of the stigma against Call of Duty.
I don't think it'll win either.
No, I don't. I think it'll be Fortnite, but my preference would be Black Ops 4. I mean, I throw Sea of Piss in the bin. And,
that's already there.
Hey, that's a good snippet to take out of this podcast. Throw Sea of Piss in the bin.
I mean, I can't believe it's on there. I mean, has it changed? Has it changed much since we first played it?
I mean, maybe, we are biased because we didn't like the game, and maybe it's improved, but
I don't think 4 people play the same game and all have the same opinion of it after 5 minutes and after 10 hours can be accused of being biased, because we played the game and it was garbage, and we all thought it was garbage. And there wasn't even one of us that were like, no, this isn't as bad as you think. We were all just like, this is absolute dog shit. Get rid of it. It's lucky that it was on Game Pass, because I would have felt so robbed if I paid 40 quid for that game.
Some people did. Man, when you look back at I mean, at first I enjoyed it. When you first come in, it's like, oh yeah, it's a nice looking game, but once you realise there's nothing to do, sucks the enjoyment right out of it.
You basically realise you've done everything there is to do in the game in about an hour.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
So bare bones, though, wasn't it? It was such a bare bones game. Nothing to do. I mean, if I remember rightly, Lou, you had a story, didn't you? You tried to play it on your own and you got locked up.
Yeah,
you got locked up in the ship.
Yeah, I
And they
tried.
wouldn't let you out.
I tried playing it on my own, and then I ended up joining in a game with two Spanish lads. they just locked me up straight away and started playing like Daniel Bryan's tune outside my cage.
I've got to admit, that must have been quite funny to view, but
Yeah, it was funny.
um,
And then the ship started sinking, and then I died, and then I respawned like
yeah,
right where I was.
so,
You know, I mean
Yeah.
that's another thing. I mean, Matty touched on it earlier when I was playing on my own and I went into properly playing it just on my own. You know, I came across a couple of guys. I thought, I'll jump on their ship. You know, killed them. I was like, hey, what can I get? And as I'm looking round, he just reappears, and
Yeah.
blows me away. I was
It's not
just like,
good.
what the hell is this? You know, it
fun
doesn't.
times, eh?
Yeah, it didn't live up to what I had in my head, I guess. What I
No,
pictured.
definitely not. Because I remember when, before the game came out, I was kind of, I wouldn't say excited for the game, but, I was thinking, oh, this might be interesting, seems like an interesting idea. But
Matty was excited. He was the one plugging it.
yeah, no,
He was getting us on board.
he was saying it was going to be game of the generation, everything, weren't you, Matt?
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely remember saying that.
Well, you did basically hire us as your crew. You were
Yeah.
rallying us to give it
was
a go.
Rallying
really
us to the
was,
Sea of
I was
Thieves
just trying to
calls.
get us to it and engage in a social activity because Perks is bedbound these days. So yeah, I thought I'd get him out on the open waters and he could live life a little.
Yeah, it wasn't to be. Well, I think that about covers some of the categories we wanted to discuss for this year's Game Awards, and that pretty much finishes the show. It's been a Game Awards show, and it will be interesting to see if any of our picks turn out to be the winners. We'll find out in a couple of weeks, though. Where can people find you on social media, Sud, so they can disagree with you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at David10spud. Yeah, that's pretty much the only social media account I have. So yeah, if you disagree with my comments, you can send me a tweet about it if you want. But
So where can people find you on social media, Matty?
Matty Cheatham on Instagram and Twitter. That's it. Same on both.
Yeah.
I don't really use Twitter though.
Yeah. So any little Jimmies out there, that's where to send you.
Let them come, man. Let them come. I would like nothing more than to argue with little Jimmies all day.
And you can find me on my Twitter and Instagram at Leld, LEL3Ds, add a 9 on the end for Instagram. Yeah, if you disagree with me about Sea of Piss, send some.
Oh, you're going to get a
comments
lot of
my
haters
way.
now, Luke. You're going to get a lot of Sea of Thieves fanboys now.
And you
Tweeting
can also find Perks at the local graveyard. All you have to do is look out for his tombstone, just recently erected. James Perkins. At JG Perks is his Twitter handle, but obviously he's not in use anymore.
Yeah, send your RIPs that way. With
Press X to
Reach.
pay respects.
Yeah, exactly. With to find Checkpoint Reach on social medias on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, it's at CheckReachPod, and then it's just Checkpoint Reach for YouTube. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed this week's show. We'll be back next Monday with the latest gaming news to discuss with Matty and Sud. So yeah, have a good week, guys. Bye.
Bye.